This is Dylan.
This is Gianna.
Sorry we couldn't figure out how to get our screen on there and have audio, so we're having some technical difficulties, but hopefully this works for you guys. But today we're going to do our presentation on the book we read called Personality Plus. So we were supposed to do this in class. We actually have a PDF that's going to be sent by Dr. Resnick to you guys. It's a quick little quiz that's from the book we read, so you can figure out your personality type. I think this will be really helpful for you guys so that you can kind of enjoy our presentation a little bit more and kind of see what there is to know about your personality type and that sort of thing. If you don't want to do the one on the PDF or you're confused by the instructions, which they should be attached, you could also use this website that we have up here. It'll take you like 5 minutes, so you can just pause us, do that really quick, and then come back. So the main concepts that we're going to be talking about today are the 4 different personality types, as well as their strengths and weaknesses mixed in with some examples, as well as the impact on society and cultures, our little individual reflection on the book, and overall review of the book. So it should be quick and easy, and we'll get to the point here.
So first we're going to start off by explaining the 4 different personality types. So the first one is choleric. These people are usually competitive and have the type A personality, so they're organized. They like to get things done on time. They're strong leaders and they're very extroverted. The next is melancholic. These individuals are structured. They're more introverted, so they're a little quieter. They're very task-oriented. They're good listeners and they're soft-spoken, but they're very prone to be moody and have symptoms of depression and anxiety. The next one is sanguines. These people normally have a good sense of humor, so the example that we used was they're normally the class clown. They're always the one making people laugh in class or with their friends in general. They're very extroverted and they're super good at making new friends, but they have a hard time finishing tasks and projects, so they get easily sidetracked by going out with friends or other small distractions. And then the 4th one that the book discusses is phlegmatics. These individuals are very calm and they're kind of go with the flow people. They're super easygoing, but they do have a hard time getting and staying motivated. So we're going to start off by going into the strengths and weaknesses of cholerics. So these people are very good leaders. They'll take charge during situations where people don't know what's going on. They're very determined and driven, so they're very motivated to get tasks done. And like it says there, they get things done on time normally. And then their weaknesses is they're not very patient, and they can come across very aggressive or demanding. So, for example, maybe Dylan is constantly texting me or calling me, telling me we need to get this project done, we need to do it at this time, this is when we're doing it, and I may think that that's super bossy and demanding because that's the way she comes across, but in reality she's just a leader. She wants to get things done and she's motivated to get it done on time. Sometimes these people come across rude or mean, like I just mentioned, and they typically run people over.
So some examples of this are Charles does not want to hang out with his friends until all of his work is completed before going. And when he tells his friends this, he might initially come across as being rude or mean about it. But in reality, he is just trying to get his things done. Another example is Cassidy decides to go to a school event and she gets there at the very start. She finds her friend group and spends most of her time with those people. She tries making sure everyone in her group of friends is behaving. So she's kind of the leader of the group, and in some circumstances she might come across as bossy or demanding of her friends, or maybe lack of patience even with them. But she's really just trying to be a leader and be driven and try and keep everyone on task and making sure they're behaving.
So the next example is sanguines. So their strengths are they're the life of the party. So anytime they go out, they're super energetic and they make people laugh. They're super fun to be around and they're creative when it comes to anything. So school projects, they go above and beyond and do creative things. And like I said, they're super energetic. They are the life of the party. Weaknesses is they're forgetful, probably because they're always with friends, being the life of the party, making people laugh, so they forget about the things they actually need to do. And then another weakness is they could be annoying because they are constantly talking and some people don't like listening to them. And then they also tend to overcommit to plans, and then not follow through. So for example, you might tell your friends, hey, yeah, I'll do this with you, and then the next day you wake up and realize you already committed to doing something with another group of friends, so you have to bail on one of them. So that happens to them a lot, and they're also not very organized.
Yeah, so some more examples of this are Sarah does all of her homework and other work after going out with her friends that she's known for a while and new friends that she just met from going out. She also forgets to do her work until somebody else reminds her. So Sarah wants to be around people all the time. She's lively and energetic, but she's also very forgetful about the more important tasks that she might need to do, and clearly she would have totally forgot unless somebody else reminded her. Sam goes to a party and starts interacting with every person he sees. He goes places and has the absolute time of his life talking with every person in sight. Other people at this party are laughing the entire time because Sam is so funny and just the life of the party. So Sam is a clear sanguine. He is just someone that people are attracted to. He has great energy and he's fun to be around for everybody else. Some people might find him annoying, like we said, maybe he talks too much, that sort of thing. But this is just kind of the general idea of what this personality type looks like.
So the next one is melancholics. So some strengths are they're very organized. So they probably have like a school calendar and have every day color coordinated, things like that. They are musically talented and they're super good with graphs and charts. Some weaknesses are they tend to be kind of negative. They see things as a glass half empty rather than glass half full. They have kind of just a negative outlook on things. They tend to worry about present and future situations. And they're very critical of themselves and other people, so they're always finding things wrong with people or events, things like that, which we'll get into that with the examples. And then they also think everyone is thinking about them or talking about them. So I think the example used in the book, or maybe something that we just researched, was somebody has like a pimple on their face and they think everyone is looking at them when in reality nobody is really looking. So yeah, that's a prime example of a melancholic personality type.
Yeah, and then we have another example with the very criticalness of these people. So Molly takes time planning out each step of her homework assignment at the beginning of the week, and then she works on it little by little every day and makes sure it's done before the due date. So this shows her organization and that she might be very analytical about all the things she needs to get done. And maybe a little bit of this planning is seen in her worries about the due date. So that could be part of the reason that she is so planned out as well. And then, like I said, the critical example, so Marissa goes to a baby shower and immediately recognizes all the things they could have planned better or made look better. So she is just trying to think of all the things that maybe she could do better or be more organized about in that sense. So this is showing more of a weakness side of this personality type.
And then we have phlegmatics. So the strengths of these individuals are they're very good listeners. So instead of talking over other people, they're more of the ear. They like to listen to what people have to say. And they're also very good at making others feel good about themselves. So they're giving out compliments and trying to not degrade other people. They like to create peace and alleviate tension, so they don't like confrontation, which could also be a weakness. We'll get into that. But they also put other needs before themselves, or their own needs. Weaknesses includes they hate confrontation and conflict, which could be bad because you don't want them to melt during conflict. They also lack confidence, which is a weakness because when they are in an argument or have conflict with somebody, they don't have confidence in themselves and their opinions, so it's going to be hard to argue their point. They like to procrastinate and they don't think very highly of themselves. Like I said, they lack self-confidence and they have low self-esteem.
So some examples of this are Patrick puts off his senior project until the very last minute, and then he stresses to get it turned in at the very last minute. So some reasons that Patrick could have done this is because maybe he's trying to make peace within his friend group, or he's just trying to be a good friend and listen to maybe one of his friend's problems, or he could be helping somebody else with their project instead of worrying about his own needs that he needs to get done in that sense. He also, procrastination is another weakness of this type because usually they're putting others before themselves. And this is just a great example, especially procrastination. I know a lot of us do that. So this could be maybe the way that your phlegmatic personality type comes through in you. Another example is Parker went to a volleyball game with his friends because they told him that he should come. He wants to make them feel happy, and he also enjoys listening to what his friends have to say. So this shows more strength of this personality type. So he went, and he really just wants to make sure his friends know that he's there and that they feel loved and that he enjoys their presence. Maybe he wouldn't have gone if his friends didn't invite him, but because he wants to make his friends feel good about themselves and put others' needs before his own, he went and just enjoyed listening to what his friends had to say. So when you took your test earlier, you probably saw that you weren't necessarily one single personality type. So you maybe had high scores in 2, maybe even 3 of these categories. So most people are not just one single type. We see a lot of blends. So one of these types of blends are natural blends, and this is between popular sanguine and powerful choleric. So the mix of these, we have the greatest potential for leadership. They just are more outgoing. They are the more extroverted type of people between these 4 personality types. And then we have perfect melancholy and peaceful phlegmatic. These are our greatest educators. They're more introverted, maybe even pessimistic, soft-spoken. So these people tend to go together, and they tend to be the analyzers of these 4 types. So we had natural blends. Now we'll talk about complementary blends. We have powerful choleric and perfect melancholy. So these people are our best business people. They are very task-oriented and want to get things done. And then popular sanguine and peaceful phlegmatic. These are your best friends. They're the best people to deal with others. They're very relationship-oriented. I think this chart that we have here is one of the best that I've seen, and it helps us kind of look at the main components of each personality type and how they might overlap with others.
So next we have societal impacts. So just knowing each other's personality types can help us better react in certain situations. For example, in the workplace, with friends, and with teachers and professors. So just knowing your professor's personality type could be really helpful because you know the way that person works and you know what's expected of you because of how their personality works. And then for work, it's really good to know how your boss works and what their strengths are and weaknesses, so maybe you can compound that and help them work on their weaknesses and make their strengths even more better. And then just with your friends, it's really good to know their personality types because it'll better explain why you butt heads with certain people or you're really good friends with other people. So it's just overall really good to know.
Yeah, and we can even apply this to our teammates. I think a lot of teams, whether it's within work or your friend group or in class, just kind of trying to pick apart different things you see within your friends and knowing their type, it can help you get your goals done that you want to achieve. So another thing within societal impacts is pop culture. So music, TV shows, movies, and books. And we read that usually the characters within the 4 sanguine and choleric types are used to create a better plot. So you'll have 4 characters, say, and they're all different personality types, just to kind of create your conflict, your people coming together, that sort of thing. So examples are The Incredibles, Breakfast Club, Narnia, and Harry Potter. And I'm not a huge Harry Potter person, but I read that in Harry Potter, each house kind of can be aligned with a different personality type, and you see that through like their beliefs and how the people act, and you can kind of tell like which houses get along better, which are rivals, and that sort of thing. So cultural impacts, we are raised differently within our families and cultures, and our personalities tie into this as well. So when we are being raised, our culture is different from another person's, as well as our personality. So this kind of creates who we are, and we've talked about this before. But just understanding how our personality type plays into the opinions that we have and how we react and treat others can improve our ability to actually get along with other types of people that have different personality types from us and who are raised differently and in different cultures. In the book, the author talks about how her and her husband, they were raised differently, and in some aspects they would butt heads because of this, and they're also different personality types as well. But because they understand that they are different personality types and that they were raised differently, they're better able to get over the difficulties that they have and come to a consensus on how they can just be better together. Culturally, we can also connect these 4 types to different religions. So if we understand how different religions and cultures connect to a certain type, which we can see in like the type of people that are within that religion, or just like the tendencies of that religion, the like unwritten rules and like that sort of thing, we can maybe even better understand how to handle social and political situations by just looking into this and having a better understanding.
So for the reflection, we personally thought that this book was really great because it gives us insight on who we are, and this can help us better understand our strengths and weaknesses. And personally, I learned a lot about my personality, and I thought maybe just my weaknesses were individual to myself, but it totally makes sense that it aligns with my personality type. So it was just really good to get to know my own strengths and weaknesses, but also compare it to other people and see what their strengths and weaknesses are compared to mine. This helps to explain communication problems between people. So I think I mentioned this earlier, but if a classmate or a teammate is pushing you to do something and you think that they're being bossy or aggressive, it might just be because that's their personality type. They want to get things done, so they come across as aggressive. They don't mean to be aggressive, but that's how we perceive them. So it's just really good to know how to perceive people differently based on their personality types. So like it says that in the example, somebody coming across aggressive, but they just want to get things done. So it's just easier to get to know people based on their personality types. And like I mentioned earlier, this works really good in the workplace, classroom, teammates, just like friends, and even in relationships too. So if your partner has some weaknesses, you can really help them and work on their weaknesses to make them feel better about your relationship as a whole. So I think just understanding each other is really good.
Yeah, and to continue on what G has to say, so we gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. So there's lots of great info in here, and it does a really great job of breaking down each type into detail. They go into like different types of people within each personality type. So that I mean, like, it talks about parenting as a sanguine or parenting as a choleric, and kind of breaks it down like that, or even like being a good teammate, or as a student, or as a child. And it really dives deep into what each type has to offer. And it also talks about like realizing what the difference is between what is your personality type and what are behaviors that you've developed, and kind of telling the difference between those. And it does this by relating to a lot of real life situations. There's many situations where just anybody can really relate to them. You don't have to come from any certain walk of life. She just does a really good job of making it relatable and a super easy read too. So we definitely recommend this book. If you have any questions about it, or if you're interested in reading it, get with us and we can give you more info too. But yeah, if there's any questions, like I said, let us know. We hope you enjoyed our presentation, and hopefully we can see you in class soon.
Thank you.